Today I'm going to tell you about why I use Notion and why you should too, even if you've quit before. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Come on. Yeah. No, you're right. We need a laptop to do this. Let's go. All right, so I have certain goals in my life that I want to accomplish, but the problem is I have all these different compartments to my life, which I think you probably do too. So I have my full-time job, I have my family, I have the YouTube channel here, my health and fitness, and then even my spirituality, my faith, which I know shouldn't be a compartment, but it kind of is. And so I want to achieve things in each one of those areas, those compartments. So I have my goals, and I want to have a good system in place to work towards and reach those goals. And that's where Notion comes into play. I think part of the problem though is sometimes there's so much technology, there's so many different apps and tools and resources that it can be kind of hard to narrow down what exactly should I use, what fits best for the way I use my technology and my lifestyle. What do I have quick access to and will help me kind of get the job done in the best possible way? And so I've used a lot of different things over the years. I've used just a checklist, just kind of a manual handwritten checklist. I've used Google Tasks, which has been kind of nice. To-do lists, and there's tons of those that I've used. I've used Apple Notes, which is pretty good, as well as Google Keep. And then most recently, probably in the last 4 or 5 months, I discovered both Notion and Milanote. And that's kind of where I was faced with a challenge because both are so good. And I really couldn't use both and just keep on switching back and forth. So what I'm going to do today is show you why I use Notion, but how I've actually integrated Milanote into Notion. Now, I'll confess, I'm pretty much a beginner to Notion. I think it's been somewhere between 3 and 5 months that I've been using it. I don't know if you can relate to this, but when I first started using Notion, I was excited. I was like, oh, this is incredible. There's all these different things you can do. And then it got overwhelming. And I was just like, I hate Notion. It's so confusing. And I'm just kind of like building all this stuff. And it just ended up being overkill. It was way too much. And so you can find a lot of videos and a lot of tutorials on Notion. And if you are real tech savvy and you have the time to kind of go through and learn, there is a lot you can do with it. I don't really have the time for that. So what I decided to do is rebuild my Notion in a way that just made sense for me. There are tons of different templates that you can use for Notion, and I used a lot of them. I wish in retrospect I had written them down so I could tell you where I got them and what they were, but I didn't do that. So mine is actually a conglomerate of lots of different templates where I kind of picked and chose the best parts that worked for what I wanted Notion to do for me. So what I'm going to do is just really walk you through my Notion page. It's pretty basic. It's fairly simple, I think. If you're a beginner, I think you might like this. And I will put a link in the description to my Notion, which is on my website. You can grab it for free and do whatever you want with it. If you want to completely change it and keep parts of it, that's fine. Go for it. Enjoy it. Now I'm using the free version of Notion. I really haven't had any good reason to upgrade yet, so I'm not paying anything, which might be why this says private. I don't share anything on my Notion page with anybody. So I have 4 different pages here. I'm not sure if they're called pages. That's what I call them. Thomas Frank, if you don't know Thomas Frank, I mean, he is one of the experts on Notion, but he has some great templates and great tutorials. He's a little more advanced, so if you're just starting out with Notion, maybe kind of look around, start with mine, and then advance on to Thomas Frank. But I have this here. I'll give you a quick glance at it. This is the Thomas Frank note-taking system, which I just discovered a couple days ago. I haven't really set it up, but I'm going to set this up because it looks as if you can actually use this on your phone pretty efficiently, which I would love to have on my phone and my tablet. A great way to take notes. I think for most of us, that's kind of mandatory that we want whatever system we're going to use, we have to be able to take notes on it quickly and efficiently. This is my main Notion right here, and then this is a copy of it, the template that I'm going to walk you through today. Just kind of took off some of the things that are more personal for me. And then this workspace right here, this was my original Notion. You can see it's kind of bland. And so I just kind of kept it for now in case I need to refer back to it at some point. But so the first thing is that you can put GIFs in here for your cover. I kind of found if you go on Giphy, that's sort of the main place to get those sorts of things. Some work and some don't. I don't really know why. But this one, it's pretty pixelated, but it works. I love the ocean, so I'm keeping it for now. I got this quote at the top here that Kanye said, and I heard John Acuff share it in Soundtracks, and I kind of took it as my own. My life is dope and I do dope stuff. And then this is kind of the main place that I go, and I may be building this a little bit more, but I really don't want it to get much bigger than 3 rows. Now all the black squares are different pages in Notion, and again, I'm not sure if they're called pages. That's what I call them. There's databases as well, which I don't really know how to work with. I use them, but I don't really know how to create them and customize them. But I have some. I'll show you those. And then all of these dark gray, these are just links. And so let's see, what can I click on here? I'll click on, this is my website right here. So if I want to go quickly from Notion to my website, click on that and it goes to the Jeff Bruce. Make sure you check out thejeffbruce.com. Just created this. I'd love for you to kind of see what's there, and that's actually where you will get the template as well. So I'm not going to go through these links because that's basically all they are. This is my email, this is Salesforce that we use for work, my shared drives and different Google drives, and then Hootsuite that I use for posting, and then the website. That's all those are. But let me walk you through each of these pages. Again, it's going to be pretty quick because there's not a whole lot of magical things on them. It just works for me, and it's a system that helps me get things done. So Center for Champions, that is my full-time job. I can click on the link right here. This is another GIF that kind of came with one of the templates. I don't know if I'll keep that. And so I haven't really done a whole lot with this yet. This is really just a template. These aren't actually the things that I'm working on. But what I have at the top here, this is just a page for me to glance at and look at the different components of my job. So I always have 3 main objectives for the week. And these 5 different headings here are the different components of the program I run. And so if there's things that I want to look at or get done, I may jot them down here. This is kind of cool too. I didn't know if you knew you could do this, but this is a Spotify playlist. You just basically copy the link from the Spotify web player and you can drop it in here and play music. Down here, I even put this. It says, I don't use this. I use this, and I'll show you what that is. But you can use this. So this is just a weekly to-do list with tasks that you can check off. I have a different system I use that works better for me. But if you just like kind of like a to-do list that you can check things off, there's this to do that. And then social media, this also I don't use very much right now because I do social media at my job, and this is for my job. We have a Google spreadsheet that we use for our content calendar. So again, it's just a real simple layout. Let's go back to the main page. I'll go through the Jeff Bruce. So this is kind of side gig, right? So this is for the YouTube channel. Got my header up there. Not a whole lot on here yet either. On my main Notion, there's a little bit more, but these are basically just a list of the themes, some of the videos I've completed, why I chose Notion, which I'm working on right now. And then this is something I love. Let's see if this will work. So if you're familiar with Milanote, which I also use, and I didn't want to abandon because it's such a beautiful app. It looks a lot nicer than Notion, but it didn't really get done everything I wanted it to. So click on that link, and this is the web version of Milanote. And here I have, let's see, I'll go to my home right there. And here I have my real simple Milanote. I have some notes in here, and for the most part, I've moved all of this into Notion except for video planning. And so here are videos I've done. You can go back and check these out. What I'm working on right now, some future ideas. And then I have this video pre-production page that will just kind of give me step-by-step of what I want to do. I have to remember to look at this because sometimes I completely forget and mess things up. I did try scripting here for a while. I typically will do bullet points and not a script because that can kind of mess you up. But this is one of the problems that I ran into with Milanote is you can kind of go past the bottom of the page. You can't expand these boxes. That would probably be, it's such a simple change that I would really like. If you could take these cards and just pull them out and make them wider so that they don't hang down below the page. And I'm on a pretty big monitor here, and that's just kind of what happens. So if you do like Milanote, you don't have to abandon it in Notion. You can use both, but you really gotta pick one that's gonna be your main thing. So 90% of what I do is on Notion, and just about 10% of my life is on Milanote. So I still get to use it. And that's about it for the Jeff Bruce. Here we have books and notes. So books I'm reading, and then notes that I have to take at meetings. Again, this one is kind of stripped down. I have a quote there that I like by C.S. Lewis, a little explanation as to what the different areas are. My notebook. This is, again, I can just kind of open up work notes and take a note there and keep it. I probably am going to switch to that Thomas Frank note-taking system. I don't know yet if I want that to be over here on the left for quick access, or if I want it here, just replace this notebook here. I'll figure that out as I go. That's a real simple thing. If you want to try his system, just kind of drop it wherever you want to use it. Wish list. So this was really just something existing in the template. I don't know if I really need this, and I don't know if I would really make it for shopping sprees, but maybe if there's gear that I want to check out and potentially purchase in the future, maybe I would put that here. And then this over here is, this is called Soundtracks. It's a book by John Acuff. I've mentioned a bunch of times the past few videos, and just notes from that book go on this page. And then down here are a couple others. I'll probably try to make some kind of icons for them. This is again niche finder, so some notes that I'm going to be taking there. And then VRA, which is for how to make better YouTube videos, working on that. And then I have just a couple little things down here, quotes, a couple quotes that I like just in a database. And then this is just words that I like: moist, fluffy, nacho, Antarctica. There's probably other words I like, but I don't know, I kind of like them. They're fun to say. All right, next, health and fitness. This is really stripped down. I just created this a couple days ago, haven't done much to it, but all it's really gonna be is workouts, and maybe there'll be some food tracking, meal planning, those sorts of things. So these are just the 2 different workouts that I do each week. I really don't need to reference this. I know them well enough at this point, but it's good to have in case I wanted to share it with somebody or add on to it in the future. All right, next is goals. Also extremely simple. So this is actually a playlist that was here. That's not mine, but these are not linked yet, but these will be my 1, 5, and 10-year goals from the Donald Miller system that I like to kind of lay out what I want to accomplish in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years, and then of course my obituary. Now I still do have this. This is kind of my journal that I have my daily 3 baby steps towards my 1 year goal. And I write down my 1, 5, and 10-year goals in here, and my obituary is in here. There's something about transferring your thoughts onto paper that just helps you execute them, or at least helps me get them done. But having them on here is just also nice for easy access. If I don't have this with me, I can pull it up and always check on it or show somebody or whatever it might be. But you can use this however you want. Everybody has things they want to accomplish. But I do highly recommend, if you're going to have a goals page, not to just make it a task list, because that kind of defeats the whole purpose and you probably will feel extremely disappointed. Then the last part of this is meeting notes, which is pretty much empty. What I do have is, I have the books and notes on books that I'm reading. But again, I'm going to use the Thomas Frank system and put that somewhere in here that is easy access. So those are kind of all of my links to the different compartments of my life. I don't have spirituality on here or my faith. Maybe that will become a part, but that's something I usually write in a separate journal as well. I kind of like to write those things down, like prayers and just notes from scripture I'm reading and that sort of thing. All right, and then the last part of my Notion, probably my favorite part, is the everything to-do list. That's what I've called it. I can't remember what it's called. It's called the Eisenhower Matrix. So you may have heard of the Eisenhower system before. I do wish this actually made a 4-quadrant, chart to look at. And I did actually see another one that does that, but I didn't really like the way it was set up, the database was set up. So maybe as I learn databases more, I can figure that out. But so basically you put in your tasks here, you choose whether or not it's urgent or not urgent. You choose whether or not it's important or not important. You can put in a due date and then check it off there when it's done. And then it actually then will move everything down here to things that need to get done. So for me, I think I'm less of a fan of task lists now than I used to be. I used to love just going through and checking everything off, but what would happen was I would do all the easy things and save the hard things. So what this does will help me prioritize the most important things and kind of save the easy things for last. Now, I do still use my journal here. I'll put in my 3 main tasks that move me towards my goals in here each day. And most of the time they probably will match up with my urgent and important tasks. But even that, I never really want that to be more than 3 each day, because it just becomes overwhelming, or you can't accomplish it and you end up just feeling like a failure. And I don't want that to be the case. So I really like this. And again, I can just check them off up here. I can add to the list, or I can check them off down here and it will complete them. So that is probably one of my favorite pieces of Notion, is the way that this works to get stuff done. Oh, and this down here is actually where I got this from. So you can look this up. I actually sent this guy a question on Twitter. So it is, I guess, I think it's l.notioneer.com. Let me just go to that real quick. That's his Twitter page. So you can follow him and check out his site. And then last thing down at the bottom here are just some links to my YouTube channel, Instagram, Twitter, the website, and then buy a coffee. So if you like the template and you're going to put it to good use, maybe you can get me a coffee. That'd be nice. Why not? So in my opinion, it helps to have a system in place to help us reach towards different goals we have. And again, there's so many different compartments of our lives that sometimes it just really helps to have a tool to keep organized. And that's what Notion is doing for me. So give it a shot, check it out. I will leave the link in the description to this template if you want to use it. If you have some comments or questions or other templates that you want to share, leave them in the comments so others can benefit from them as well. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and I hope it helps you live life to the fullest. See you next time.